hereby call the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission meeting to order on Thursday, July 24th, 2025 at 5:35 p.m. Recording Secretary, can you please conduct roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Diaz?
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Present.
Commissioner Dogway? Commissioner Nelson? Commissioner Reyes?
Here.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Here.
Commissioner Wu?
Here.
Vice Chair Zakira Torres?
Here.
And Chairperson Rao.
Here.
Records show you have 7 members present. Chair Murray, you have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, we have the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are able to do so, can you please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? Right there. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome back, everyone, to our July Parks and Recs Commission meeting. We do not have a meeting in June, so I'm happy to have our commissioners meet again to discuss city business. Now we have, first on the agenda, we have a Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission training presentation. I'll turn this over to our Deputy Director, Pagano, to present.
Thank you, Chairperson Herrera. Seeing that we are meeting and have a few new members joining us, we felt like it was a good time to kind of just go over some of the responsibilities, roles that you all play and will continue to play as you serve your terms, and then also kind of just go over some highlights in terms of the bylaws and again, some of the roles and responsibilities. So we'll go to the next slide. And with regards to membership and requirements, we have a total of 9 members. So in order for us to conduct a meeting at quorum, we'll need 5 to be in attendance. Members must reside in the city of Santa Ana. You cannot be a treasurer of a political action committee. And as a member, you are prohibited from holding any paid office or employment in city government. Next slide, please. Our meeting dates and times are standard, fourth Thursday of the month. Time is at 5:30, and typically, unless we otherwise designate, the location of our meetings will be at City Hall Council Chamber at 20 Civic Center Plaza in the city of Santa Ana. Some of the responsibilities, I won't read this verbatim, but some of the roles that you all play as commissioners of the Parks and Recreation Commission is to act in an advisory capacity to the City Council in matters pertaining to the acquisition, capital improvements, rehabilitation, and maintenance of parks and recreational, cultural, and zoo facilities. Also, in your advisory capacity, consider the proposed annual budget for the Parks and Recreation Community Services agencies and make recommendations to the city manager and or city council. Also, again, in the advisory capacity to the city council in recommending policies and or legislation on all matters pertaining to parks, recreation, and community services, perform all other duties as assigned by city council, and act in an advisory capacity and provide recommendations to the city council and the city manager as to the acceptance or rejection of offers or donations of money, personal property, real estate, to be used for recreation and park programs. And additionally, it shall, you in your capacity make recommendations on the sale, transfer, or usage of existing or future park property. The commission shall report annually to the city council on its goals and accomplishments. And I think that's something that during the time that I've been here, we may have accomplished at very early on, but it may be something that as a commission you would consider moving forward as far as making an annual report to the city council. Consent and business calendar items. Pretty straightforward. Staff may present a presentation on an agenda item. Consent calendar items typically voted on as a group and with no discussion. Conflict of interest. If a Parks Commission member has a conflict of interest, they will state it and leave the meeting room before the item is considered. In terms of discussion, the Parks Commission discusses the matter until they are ready to vote. A motion is needed to take action on an item. A second is made by another Parks Commission member to move the item forward for a vote. And once that happens, the recording secretary asks for the Parks Commission's vote by roll call. After that voting results, the recording secretary announces the results of the vote that took place, and a majority of the vote rules. A tie or minority vote fails in not achieving a majority. Informational items. Staff presents a presentation on an item. A discussion takes place. The Parks Commission and the commissioner members each make comments or ask questions on the presentation, but ultimately no action is taken, as these are informational items for the Parks Commission members to consider. One of the things that we'll be doing later on today as part of our business, we will be electing a chair and vice chair. The way that this process takes place is there is a call for opening nominations. The current chair or designated representative opens the floor for nominations for the chairperson. We will receive nominations. So as a Park Commission member, you can nominate them yourself or another member for the position of chair. A nomination needs a second to be accepted and to be eligible for vote. Closing nominations. The current chair or the body conducting the election will typically ask for any further nominations. And if none are forthcoming, the chair will close the nomination process. After the nomination process is closed, a vote will take place for each nominated candidate. So there could be multiple candidates for either chair or vice chair based on a nomination and a second of the nomination, and in the order that they were nominated. So we'll be paying attention to that as we go through that process a little bit later on in our agenda. At the end of the day, the candidate who receives the highest majority vote of the members present and voting is elected the new chair. We will do the same thing for vice chair, same process. There will be a call for open nominations. We will receive the nominations. The nomination period will close out, and a vote will take place to essentially nominate who will be vice chair for the next calendar year. And then the transfer of leadership. The transfer of leadership can take place either at this meeting, if the body feels like they want to seat the new chair, and at the end of the voting, if we have a new chair, then we will rearrange the seats to where the chair will be at the center of the body, and will conduct the rest of the meeting. Or the body can also decide to let the current chair finish out the meeting, and then we can start with the newly elected chair to start the subsequent meeting, which would be taking place in August. So that will just be at the pleasure of the commission tonight once we go through that process. Our current membership, as you see here, you're all represented, and welcome to our newest members. We're very happy to have you all here, and I can answer any questions that you may have at this time with regards to some of the higher level roles, responsibilities, and ultimately how we will choose our chair and vice chair for the next calendar year.
Do we have any questions for Deputy Director Pagano? See no questions. Thank you, Deputy Director. Now we have the Parks Recreation Employees of the Month and Volunteers of the Quarter. Start off with Commissioner Jogway.
Volunteer.
You can do the employee first. One of them, and then I'll come back to you.
Okay, so we're the employees of the month for the month of July. We have Dina Orbison. Dina has been with the city for 16 years. Is zookeeper 1 and was nominated by her supervisor, Jenny Walker. Dina continues to be a valuable asset to the zoo animal care team with her knowledge, ideas, and communication skills. Dina's ability to see the bigger picture, as well as her leadership skills, have positioned her as someone the rest of the animal care team looks to as a guidance. The zoo is undergoing a lot of construction, and Dina has been assisting others to create new routines despite having to adapt to changes within her own daily work. She has been flexible, thoughtful, and stable in a time of disorder and stress. She's made suggestions for streamlining the workload that shows she's thinking of more than just her own responsibilities. I appreciate Dina's level-headedness, willingness to speak up and share ideas, and her commitment to the zoo. Being the best it can be, and I'm happy to nominate her for the
We have, Commissioner Rodriguez.
I have June employee of the month. I have Lisa Rodriguez. And Lisa Rodriguez has been nominated for employee of the month for her exceptional leadership, creativity, and unwavering dedication to the youth programs at El Salvador Community Center. Lisa has recently taken a leading role in planning and implementing programming, and her creativity really shines. She goes above and beyond to make each campus experience memorable by finding innovative ways to keep them engaged. For example, she introduced weekly yearbooks for campus, filled with photos capturing the highlights of the camp. This thoughtful touch only excites the campers, but also gives parents a meaningful glimpse into their children's experience. Additionally, Lisa organized a talent show, a talent show, which became a highly anticipated event for the campers. These kinds of activities have significantly boosted campers' morale and created lasting memories that keeps families looking forward to returning each season. Lisa has been a valued member of the Park and Recreation Serena team for 2 years, and her growth as a leader is clearly reflected in her work. She consistently stays ahead of her tasks, takes initiative, and addresses new challenges with proactive mindset. Her efforts ensure that programs run smoothly and exceeded expectations. Beyond her program contributions, Lisa also delivers exceptional customer service and is always willing to support her peers. Her positive attitude and team spirit make her an invaluable asset to El Salvador team. Lisa's dedication, leadership, and consistent contributions make her truly deserving of this recognition. Congratulations, Lisa.
Commissioner Wu.
Yes, as a community award for volunteerism, it's Joey Dunn. She's been a volunteer. Joey has started volunteering at the zoo in April of 2025 as part of the UCI Combined Field Study Program. This program provides course credits for field work during one semester. Joey has far surpassed the required 80 hours of service and over 100 hours completed during the semester, and she has remained a volunteer since beginning her coursework. Joey has shown great initiative, customer service skills, attentive to detail, and caring for both people and animals, helping as a farm monitor, butterfly monitor, and during the education program. The zoo is truly grateful for Joey for her 131 hours of service, her chosen zoo for her field study and fight, and her enthusiasm for sharing our animals with enthusiasm of all ages. Thank you very much, Joey.
Rodriguez, would you like to read the recording?
Yes, I have Jill Sanders, who is the June Employee of the Month. She has been with the city for 16 and a half years. She's a zookeeper too, and was nominated by her supervisor, Jenny Walker. Not only is Jill a hardworking member of the animal care team on an everyday basis, her dedication and commitment to the zoo as a whole was especially evident during June's AZA accreditation inspection. Jill worked countless hours, including weekends and evenings, to help the zoo look its best for the inspection. She made repairs, improved habitats, raked, swept, scrubbed, and does the most everything around the zoo, ensuring we put our best foot forward. Jill's passionate devotion to her job, the animals, her team, and the entire zoo is a parent every day, but she really made an incredible impact during the month of June, and I am proud to nominate her for Employee of the Month. Congratulations, Jill.
Whoa.
Vice Chair Secretary Flores, would you like to read the employees of the month?
June's Employee of the Month is Mike Cajera. He's a senior maintenance worker who's been with the city for 2.5 years. I'll ask Mike is a common expression at the zoo. Not only does Mike have great ideas for zoo maintenance issues, he is always willing to listen to find the best way to solve problems. While Mike is always making zoo improvements, recent highlights include single-handedly completing a long overdue masonry project on a crumbling seating wall behind the ticket booth, and coordinating painting the half wall and planter in front of the ticket booth. He fulfilled a long-term ticket booth goal of mounting a TV monitor in the window so guests can see zoo updates. He managed this in spite of the fact that the ticket booth has very little inner surface that is not glass. He organized the maintenance workshop and made it inspection worthy and specifies tools and parts like a pro. He is always thinking of ways to make life at the zoo better. When he noticed that the falling tree debris was disturbing one of the zoo birds, he asked if he could sound dampen to the roof. We are all so appreciative of his ongoing service. Thank you, Mike. Congratulations, Mike.
This is a July Employee of the Month, and it goes to Leticia Barrios. It is with great pleasure that I nominate Leticia Barrios as Employee of the Month. Letty joined our team at El Salvador Center 1 year ago, after we first met at a hiring fair. From the moment I spoke with her determination, passion, and genuine energy stood out, and I knew right away she would be a great fit for our team. Since then, Letty has become a go-to person for both staff and families alike. She's incredibly reliable, creative, and always willing to lend a helping hand. Her ideas consistently shine through in everything she does, and she brings them to life with a level of care and dedication that inspires those around her. Betty has taken the lead on our morning Little Picasso's class, which has grown into one of our most popular offerings, now full for every session. Her connection with the little ones is heartwarming and authentic. The children light up around her, and it's clear how much joy and comfort she brings into their daily lives. Most recently, Letty played a vital role in the planning and successful execution of our Spring Fest. She took the lead on event layout and decorations, even hosting her own little feasting station, which was a big hit with the kids. Whether it was setting up, entertaining, or jumping in whatever help was needed, Letty was there every step of the way, truly wearing many hats and wearing them well. Letty embodies the spirit of our center with her positivity, creativity, and commitment. We are truly grateful to have her on our team. Congratulations, Mrs. Barrios.
Commissioner Jogway, would you like to read the second?
So next nomination is for volunteer reporter. Our volunteer reporter is Kareem from the Santa Ana Parks and Rec. He's a volunteer. Kareem has consistently demonstrated leadership, initiative, and a strong commitment to community engagement. Through his efforts, he has established and led a school garden club affiliated with the National Honor Society at Santa Ana Middle College and High School. Under his guidance, the club has served as a direct link between youth engagement and our Parks and Rec program. Kareem has played a key role in distributing community garden and wilderness club outreach materials, organizing club volunteer days, and managing volunteer signups and participation. Supporting key events such as Dia de los Muertos, Roosevelt Walker Open House, Hope, Health, and Harmony, and the Summer Solstice Garden Party. These efforts have had a large, tangible impact on event success and community participation. His ability to coordinate a reliable, enthusiastic team of student volunteers has been instrumental. And without Kareem and his student network, hosting such well-executed and meaningful garden events would be significantly more difficult. Kareem exemplifies the spirit of Parks and Rec volunteerism. Thanks, Greg. Alexis Hernandez, would you like to read the second?
Juan Mentes is a part-time employee who's been with the city for 3 months, and he's a clerical aide. Juan's outstanding dedication, flexibility, and team-oriented attitude doesn't go unnoticed. Recently, Juan went above and beyond by adjusting his schedule to accommodate our after-hours needs. This change had a significant positive impact on our operations, ensuring continued support during critical times. His willingness to adapt without hesitation demonstrated a level of commitment that truly sets him apart. Beyond his schedule adjustment, Juan consistently approaches his work with eagerness and a positive attitude. He is always quick to offer assistance, whether it's taking on additional tasks, supporting his colleagues at ticket booth and flight, or helping streamline day-to-day operations. His proactive approach and reliability have made him an invaluable member of our team. Juan's consistent professionalism, flexibility, and strong work ethic make him a deserving candidate for this recognition. We are fortunate to have him on our team. Congratulations, Juan.
I believe I have the last two. We'll start with the employee of the month for June and then July. For the month of June, we have Juan Laura. He's been with the city for 29 years. They've been nominated by their supervisor, Deputy Director Pagano. And Deputy Director is happy to nominate Juan Laura for June's Employee of the Month. With 29 years of dedicated service to the city of Santa Ana, Juan exemplifies the very best of public service through their unwavering commitment, exceptional leadership, and tireless advocacy for older adults in our community. As the Recreation and Community Services Supervisor overseeing the Senior Services section, Juan has led his team with professionalism, empathy, and a deep understanding of the needs of Santa Ana's aging population. Under his direction, both the Santa Ana and Southwest Senior Centers are operating at near daily capacity, offering a vibrant mix of programming that ranges from engaging daily classes to well-attended monthly events and outings. Juan's leadership was especially evident in the successful relaunch of the Senior Excursion Program, a beloved offering that has brought joy and meaningful experiences back to many participants following a post-pandemic hiatus. His team's production of the International Older Adult Celebration was a standout event that honored the diversity, resilience, and contributions of our senior community, and planning is already underway for an even more impactful celebration this September. Beyond programs and numbers, Juan is a trusted leader who leads with integrity, humility, and heart. His team respects him deeply, and the seniors he serves hold him in the highest regard. He is known not only for his operational excellence, but for the compassion and care he brings to every interaction. Juan Laura is the epitome of service, and his impact on our city is both lasting and profound. For these reasons and more, he is truly deserving of the Employee of the Month. And that's for months. We have our Monique here for our July Employee of the Month. And you have been with the city, Monique, for 4 years. You're being nominated today by Deputy Director Pagano. He is honored to nominate you for Employee of the Month in recognition for your exceptional leadership, innovation, and outstanding service to the city of Santa Ana over the past 4 years. As the Recreation and Community Service Supervisor overseeing special events, Monique has transformed the city's event programming into a gold standard of excellence and community pride. Since taking on this role, Monique has developed a forward-thinking framework that redefines what a Santa Ana special event means for our residents. Through her vision and coordination, the city has successfully produced over 34 major events in a single calendar year, not once, but twice. A remarkable feat that highlights her unmatched ability to manage large-scale, complex operations with grace and precision. One of Monique's most notable accomplishments was the successful return of Fiestas Patrias to downtown Santa Ana. The 2-day celebration and parade attracted an estimated 80,000 attendees, reinforcing its role as a cornerstone cultural event and showcasing Monique's talent in coordinating high-profile, cross-department initiatives that resonate with our community. Monique has also ushered in a new era for the Santa Ana Fun Run, implementing a fee structure for the 5K for the first time. This change not only generated $58,000 in cost recovery, but also dramatically improved participant turnout, achieving an unprecedented 93% participation rate, a significant improvement over previous years. Known for her meticulous attention to detail, strong budgeting practices and ability to build cross-departmental consensus, Monique has set a new benchmark for event planning and execution in the city. Her leadership and vision has elevated the quality, impact, and sustainability of Santa Ana special events, ensuring that each one is a reflection of the community it serves. For her outstanding contributions and continued excellence, Monique Leon is more than deserving of the July Employee of the Month recognition. Congratulations, Monique.
We're so happy to have Monique here today because it's a sweet, bitter moment for us because she's going to be leaving us at the end of the month. And she's accepted a position with the city of Corona to be their community services manager. So I thought it was fitting to recognize her effort for the past 3 years. My apology. And for some reason, I thought it was 4. But just during the time that she's been here, she's obviously, and I know all of you guys have experienced it as well, just really brought a different experience for the Santa Ana resident related to our special events. And I just want to congratulate her on her new venture and recognize her for all the contributions she's made over the time that she's been with us. So, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for the recognition. I really appreciate it. I've talked with you all on various elements of events, and I am sad to be leaving, but I know I'm leaving it in good hands. And so, thank you.
Thank you, commissioners, employees, and volunteers for the employees of the month for June and July. Next on the agenda, we have public comment section. This is the time for the commission to receive comments from the public. We will not accept any additional requests or speaker cards once we begin the public comment session. If you have not already, please submit your request to the recording secretary. Speakers will have 3 minutes to speak. For speakers on Zoom, you must dial *9 from your phone or click the button labeled "Raise Your Hand Now" to be in the speaker queue once public comments commence. Recording secretary, do we have any in-person or Zoom public speakers?
At this time, we have no in-person or Zoom speakers. However, we did receive 2 via email. I distributed one to all the commissioners from Gay Olivos, and we received another one that is from Jeff that I also emailed out, and we'll make sure to get on the website. Would you like me to read that one?
Can you please reach out public comment?
The public comment is from Jeff. It says, "Hello, my name is Jeff, and I live in the Washington Square neighborhood. First, our neighborhood has long asked for a small neighborhood park, and there is an opportunity with a for sale empty lot just north of 15th Street between Olive and Lowell. Last I heard, we are awaiting a zoning decision on this land, but we haven't been able to get any clear update. If you are aware of this request, is there any update you are able to provide? Secondly, I'm trying to educate myself around how parks are designed and primarily how the plants are selected. I'm deeply concerned for our environment, and I would love to see even more native plants in our parks. As I am sure you're aware, the environment has been facing disasters since industrialization. Nearly 3 billion birds, or over 50% of the population, have disappeared since 1970. And habitat loss through development has played a major role in this. Our parks could act as refuges for native wildlife such as birds by providing water and by encouraging insects such as caterpillars, which are a vital food source for most newborn birds. A study on chickadees showed that birds require 75% native plants in their habitat to have a chance at population growth. Are there initiatives that Santa Ana Parks and Rec are doing to promote more native habitat? And if so, is there anything we can do to promote this work? Thank you.
We were also received public comments that were printed and handed to us, so we have these also reviewed. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Next on the consent calendar are items 1 and 2. Commission members, are there any items 1 and 2, I believe, are our previous agenda attendance as well as the agenda? Excused absences as well as regular minutes of our May 22nd Parks and Recs Commission meeting. Are there any commission members, are there any items you wish to pull from the consent calendar? And if there's not, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I motion to accept consent calendar.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wu, seconded by Commissioner Diaz. Madam Secretary, will you please conduct roll call?
Yes, motion by Commissioner Wu, seconded by Commissioner Diaz to approve items 1 and 2 of the consent calendar. Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jogway,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson, absent. Commissioner Reyes,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Commissioner Wu,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zakiris Torres,
Yes.
and Chair Herrera.
Yes.
Vote is 8 ayes, 0 nays, that motion carries.
Great, thank you, Recording Secretary. Madam Secretary, now we have on the business calendar items on the agenda. The first on the agenda is the election of officers for the 2025-2026 term of the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission. I will now open the election of officers where we will nominate, vote, and elect the chair and vice chair officer positions. If there is more than one nomination for a seat with a second, we will vote for each nomination once nominations are closed, and the highest vote shall win.
I would like to nominate Roberta Hernandez. And it's just give you a new name. Herrera for the chair of the Parks and Recs Commission.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Are there any other nominations?
I would like to make a motion to nominate Commissioner Diaz for chair.
Is there a second? We have a second.
Second.
We have 2 nominations. Are there additional nominations? If there are no further nominations, nominations are now closed. Madam Secretary, will you please conduct the roll call vote?
We first get a motion to close the nominations.
Is there a motion to close the nominations?
I so move.
We have a motion by Wu, second by Diaz.
Motion to close the nominations by Commissioner Wu and seconded by Commissioner Diaz. Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jogway,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson, absent. Commissioner Reyes,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Commissioner Wu.
Yes.
Vice Chair Zakiris Torres,
Yes.
Chair Herrera.
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, that motion carries. Now for the nominations, we have 2 nominations. The first one is nomination by Commissioner Wu to appoint Chair Herrera as chair, seconded by Commissioner Zakiris Torres. Commissioner Diaz?
No.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner Jogway?
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson is absent. Commissioner Reyes? It's for nominating Chair Herrera as chair. No? Commissioner Rodriguez?
No.
Commissioner Wu?
Yes.
Vice Chair Zakiris Torres?
Yes.
And Chair Herrera?
Yes.
Vote is 5 ayes and 2 noes. 3 noes, sorry. That motion carries. The second nomination is nomination by Commissioner Rodriguez, seconded by Commissioner Reyes to appoint Commissioner Diaz as chair. Vote. Commissioner Diaz?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
No.
Commissioner Jogway? No. Commissioner Nelson absent. Commissioner Reyes?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Wu?
Yes.
No. Okay. Vice Chair Sequeira Torres?
No.
And Chair Herrera?
No.
That is 3 ayes and 5 nays, so that motion fails. For the Chair Herrera, you remain in your position.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Now we will appoint the position of Vice Chair of Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission for the 2025-2026 year. The time is now open for nominations for Vice Chair. Are there any nominations?
I motion to nominate Commissioner Rodriguez.
Do we have a second? For Commissioner Rodriguez? Are there any other nominations?
I so moved to nominate Maria Torres.
I'll second that nominations. We have 2 nominations. Are there any additional nominations? And if there are no further nominations, nominations are now closed. Is there any? First, are there additional nominations? Oh, I see. Is there a motion to close nominations?
I motion to close the nominations.
Is there a second?
I said.
Second.
Motion to close the nominations by Vice Chair Sequeira Torres, seconded by Commissioner Wu. I'll now conduct the vote for that. Commissioner Diaz?
No.
You don't want to close nominations?
To, yes.
Yes. Commissioner Gonzalez? Commissioner Jogway?
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson is absent. Commissioner Reyes?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Wu?
Yes.
Vice Chair Sequeira Torres?
Yes.
And Chair Herrera?
Yes.
0 carries. For the nomination by Commissioner Wu and seconded by Chair Herrera to appoint Vice Chair Sequeira Torres as Vice Chair. Commissioner Diaz?
No.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner Jogway?
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson is absent. Commissioner Reyes? Commissioner Rodriguez?
No.
Commissioner Wu?
Yes.
Vice Chair Sequeira Torres?
Yes.
And Chair Herrera?
Yes.
That motion carries 6-2.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Now we will discuss the next business calendar item, the Bristol Bolivar Park meeting. I'll turn this over to Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Deputy Director, Tim Pagano, to present.
Thank you, Chairperson Ferreira. We have another opportunity to name a new park that is going to be coming online very shortly here within the city. And so I will take you through the process of which I'm sure most of you have been through this, but I think it may be new for a few of you. So we'll go to the next slide. This is the conceptual design of our newest park, or one of our newest parks, that is located at Bristol Street and Tolliver Street, just north of Martin Luther King Elementary School. Kind of a pretty picture, and we're really excited for the opportunity to start programming this. Go to the next slide. Background with regards to Bristol and Tolliver, the location like I mentioned before, is at the intersection of Bristol Street, Oliver Street, in the southeastern section of the Central City neighborhood. This new 1.25 acre park will feature drought tolerant landscaping, pedestrian pathways, recreational spaces, and a multi-use sports court. It will be the first city park to have a stormwater reuse and treatment system for irrigation. Staff, like we have in the past, crowdsourced suggestions from the community to assist in naming the new park. And over 30 unique suggestions were received that met the Santa Ana Municipal Code criteria in order to name the new park. That SAMC criterion, these are what were, based on the submissions that were provided to us through our crowdsourcing efforts, this is what we're basically holding those submissions up to see if they qualify. Those criteria are, it identifies the locations by references of a distinct geographic, environmental, or developmental feature in the immediate area. There's history of the subject site. It identifies a person or family having made an extraordinary donation of land or funds, and or recognizes a person or family who has made distinct significant contributions to the city of Santa Ana, including past mayors, council members, board or commission members, officers, or employees of the city, and not anyone currently holding such position. The recommended names based on the SAMC criteria for Bristol Street and Tolliver Park site. The community submitted over 500 ideas for the future Bristol and Tolliver Park site. After reviewing all submissions for alignment with the Santa Ana Municipal Code, the following proposals are presented to the Parks, Recreation, Community Services Commission for consideration. That is Nuestro Park and Central City Park. Those were the two that ultimately raised to the top of the list based off of the Santa Ana Municipal Code criteria. So at this time, we can go to the next slide. The recommended action is for PRCSC to recommend name of the Bristol and Tolliver Park site that will be forwarded to the Planning Commission for their consideration. And you can do that through discussion and or motion to call a vote for what your preference would be to forward your recommendation to the Planning Commission at this time. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Great, thank you, Deputy Director. Maybe we can have discussion and then recommendation of a motion. Do we have any questions for the Deputy Director, Commissioner Wu?
I like both names, and they said it's 500 ideas in the neighborhood association. Did they tell you what their preference in that neighborhood? Or?
The neighborhood association was notified via our neighborhood initiatives division. Essentially, we asked for a general submission. We didn't really want to, call out just the Central City Neighborhood Association because this is a city park. It's not, tied to Central City Neighborhood Association, even though it's geographically located next to it. It's still a city park, and so we want the community to be able to recommend a name based off of their inspiration or aspirations and everything.
Well, I like both names. Just like sway.
Sure,
what they
understood.
feel happy with. Anybody commission give me feelings of what they would do.
Any other comments or questions from the commission? Any suggestions? Commissioner Collins,
I like Nuestro Park. I think it seems, I like that it's in Spanish. I feel like it sounds different compared to Central City Park. It just seems like Central City Park can be anywhere. Nuestro Park is more key into Santa Ana, and it sounds different. I like this.
The one question, Commissioner Diaz?
Is there, like beside these two names, is there another name, like the top three? Is there?
These were the two that, based on the criteria, that were recommended for you to consider.
Based on how many number of, like the survey, what was the number of responses?
The number of responses, we received 500 responses based on our crowdsourcing and the voting that took place via social media and via the website.
can you explain to the commission that even though we decide to vote for one or the other, council still has the position at the end of the day?
Sure. So part of this process, which was started back when we first had Brayton Myrtle Park a few years ago, part of what your Parks and Rec department decided to do is to not only involve the community, but also involve the Parks and Rec Commission. Because again, this totally falls within your purview as commissioners. And so part of what we've done is not only started that crowdsourcing effort to engage the community, but once that's completed, we bring the opportunity for you to recommend to the planning commission, who will then ultimately affirm or send the name back to this commission, this body, to say we don't like the name that was recommended. That could potentially happen at the planning commission, which we intend to bring that to the second meeting in August next month. If the planning commission affirms your recommendation, it then goes to the city council, and the city council then has the ability to either approve via vote, or they can decide up on the dais to change the name, which is part of their authority and their purview as council members, by making a recommendation, which would follow the same process that you're doing here. There would be a motion to name the park something other than Nuestro or Central City, depending on what your recommendation is. And they could go with a completely, different name based on, what their pleasure is, if they decide to go that route. And we have seen that in the past. One of our most recent parks that just opened, Gerardo Moet, was a park name that was crowdsourced by the community, that was recommended by the Parks and Rec Commission, which was affirmed by the Planning Commission and was ultimately approved by the City Council. So we've seen a mixed bag of, either the names carrying all the way through those three bodies, or there being a change at the dais with regards to some other parks that we've taken this process.
Will this be, sure will be on the agenda for the city council, right?
Correct.
Can I make a recommendation? When prior to them voting for this item, is there a possibility that perhaps maybe yourself or Executive Director Hawk to present it to the council and explain to them as to what was the recommendation of the community? Because of the previous name parking, park naming, it was not presented to the council at the moment. So it was chosen without, I felt like we involved the community and naming the park and, answering the surveys and stuff. And by not presenting that to council, it kind of like, people feel like, why is the point of me participating if, our vote doesn't count? So that way, at least the community can see that even though the community voted for a name, it was presented to council, during the meeting, and then council would decide, but at least the community can see that it was taken into account.
Understood. And so if I can clarify, the recommendation is for most likely Executive Director Scott to give some type of report to the council prior to action being taken. Okay, I will make sure that the Executive Director understands that, and he'll have to work with the city administrator to determine if that's something that they would want to do. Because ultimately, going through the procedural process, if the item is pulled on consent, because this would be a consent item, then there would already be discussion. And in that particular instance, the executive director may have an opportunity to kind of share the efforts that were made, not only by the Parks and Rec Department, but also the community engaging with us in the manner that it has, and also the bodies that it's traveled through to get to the point where it's at and everything. If it gets approved, I don't think that there would be really any issue, because ultimately the community is represented. But in some instances, when it does get pulled for consent, there isn't really a lot of dialogue between the executive director and the council members. The council members just might decide to talk amongst themselves in terms of the decision that they want to make. But I will pass that along to executive director.
I see that we're gonna be having more parks, especially the one on 10th and Flower, so that way we want the community to be engaged then we don't, I feel like, I don't want it to discourage us to what is the point of us, giving up a name if it's not gonna be chosen, something like that. I just want them to feel like, look, yeah, you chose this name, but eventually this is how, things happen at the end.
Understood.
Are there any, Vice Chair Secretary Escobar?
I like Muestro Park. I feel like it affirms our Santa Ana identity, especially in these times. It's very representative of what Santa Ana is. And it also gives us a sense of residents, a sense of belonging, to know that all residents are welcome at our parks and are encouraged to attend the parks. Also, 500 submissions were completed. How is that compared to past submissions?
It's a great question. It's actually one of our most engaged crowdsourcing efforts. So I think, going back to the Rake Myrtle, which is now Ed Brothers Park, they've seen that we've offered the opportunity for the community to engage. Now that process is caught on. Plus our social media, we have a lot more, followers via our Instagram and our Facebook pages, in addition to a lot more people tuning into our website with regards to the information that we're passing out. So it could be a combination of both. We're getting more engagement just because they're used to the process, but we've also increased our scope in terms of who we're interacting with and stuff. But it has been the most actively engaged crowdsourcing effort thus far today.
Great. I'm glad to see that the engagement is increasing.
Question? Commission?
Yeah, I also like Nuestro Park. It gives it a cozy feeling of it, so I like it.
Yeah.
I also wanted to tell you that in the last survey, it was very easy and accessible to choose a name. This last time it was very accessible. The first time it's a little bit more difficult, but this time, it was very accessible, so I like that.
Thank you.
The question I had, Deputy Director, was I do also like Muestro Park. Has the Youth Commission had a chance to weigh in on the park name?
At this time, no, because we were still in flux on whether or not we were going to have enough youth commissioners to actually bring this in time. Fortunately, we were able to, but we didn't get it on their agenda for their last meeting, which just took place on Monday. So, we typically involve our youth commissioners in this process too, and we plan on doing that for 10 to 12, because we now have enough commissioners where we have a quorum, and we can bring that to them at their next meeting.
I think that would be my recommendation for the inclusion of future park naming. I know that part of the discussion for today is park naming, which also kind of goes into what Commissioner Diaz was talking about around community engagement, around capital improvement projects, or policy procedures. For the Vice Chair Secretary, I'll also mention the ask for the opening of the park. I think that would be great to also promote in a way that's accessible to the community, maybe in the evenings or weekend, as the discussion is being brought forth before the council as a recommendation from outside of the park naming. We would like community engagement in these ways.
Understood.
Are there no further comments or questions from the commission? If not, then I would like to motion to approve Westfield Park for the naming of the Bristol and Tulliver Park site. We have a second. Commissioner Wu.
Motion by Chair Rivera, seconded by Commissioner Wu to recommend Nuestro Park as the naming of the Bristol Tulliver Park. I'll now conduct a roll call vote. Commissioner Diaz?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner Jogway?
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson, absent. Commissioner Reyes?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Wu,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zafira Torres,
Yes.
Chair Herrera.
Yes.
It's 8 ayes, 0 nays, that motion carries.
We have a temporary parking.
Mhm.
So that's fine.
That's a great way to say it.
When do you anticipate that going before the council?
Our goal is the second meeting in September, because it's imperative for us to get it at least by October for the purposes of the wayfinding sign for the park. Because it will fall in the grant cycle that we're operating in. So it is time sensitive, so we're gonna be moving it through planning commission next month, and then the hope is to get it in the second meeting of September, latest October, the first meeting of October.
Thank you, Deputy Director. And thank you, Madam Secretary, for conducting roll call. Now we'll move on to the informational item section of the agenda. I'll turn this over to, back to Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Deputy Director Tim Pagano to present the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services staff report.
I'd actually defer to my colleagues because I feel like I've been doing too much talking this meeting. So if Susie and Jordan would like to go first, I'd be more than happy
Great,
to
yeah.
wait until the end.
I now
Just-
invite, I'll now invite our Park Services Superintendent, Jorge Acevedo, and Assistant Park and Landscape Planner for tonight to present the Public Works Agency Park Services staff report.
Thank you for that, Deputy Director Pagano. I really like you go first, but I'm not, but typically because I like to follow up and really,
I'll be the pickle.
right, I really commend all the great stuff that our recreation team is doing. But with that, good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Jordan Acevedo, Parks Service Superintendent. If you guys don't know, now you do, July is Parks Month. So we were able to, celebrate July as Parks Month. The theme this year, which is very fitting, is build together, play together. So I know when it comes to public works and Parks and Recreation, that's kind of the collaboration that we have, and it's full cycle. So really fitting theme for July. So like always, I like to highlight a little bit of the smaller projects that kind of go a long way. I know in the midst of heat waves, summertime, our kids, especially out there on baseball fields, are desperately in some shade. So the team was successful in installing some shade tarps over our, pretty much our 90% of our fields. So we're happy to say that our little ones and even adult users can now enjoy some nice shade under the vents. So Susie likes to call it, and which it is. So it's Urban Wilderness Park. That's on Devil Park. As many of you guys don't know, and when this park was phase 2 was initially turned over to us, it had some bronze signs that were very attractive to transients. So they didn't do too well, and were subject to some vandalism and theft. So since that, our team has pivoted and in-house have created some wooden signs, coated in epoxy, thus giving it like the glossy look of metal. But just know that they're made out of wood now. They should be resistant to the elements, and we're hopeful that they stay put in your spot.
Yes,
So we're
please.
excited to have that done by our in-house and our staff. So kudos to them.
Yes, please, public, don't take these signs.
So another picture of behind the scenes, Memorial Day, where we honor our fallen. Our staff kind of took the lead in refinishing the bronze flag, overseeing the installation of the new flagpole. So excited to have I know Executive Hawk was out there for the ceremony and some of the commissioners. So grateful for that. Just kind of showing the pictures of the stuff that gets done behind the scenes in preparation for the event. Here at Morrison Park, so we've heard the community, pickleball is a thing. There's a definitely we've taken that to introduce now our first permanent pickleball courts in the city of Santa Ana at Morrison Park. So if you go out there, you'll see one tennis court, which is specific, just should be tennis only, and the other court was converted to 4 pickleball permanent pickleball courts. With that, we were able to work on some new rules. So you can see the new tennis pickleball court rules, which are installed at the entrance of each gate, and kind of fall in line with our park rules as well. So I just like to welcome anybody and everybody to the new pickleball court at West Park. Another highlight from our team, just kind of showcasing some of their skills. This is a picture of the team fabricating, welding, being creative while fixing a wrought iron fence at Fordham Park. So just kind of a little bit behind the scenes of what they do on a day-to-day. That was the Thornton at the Barrier Creek Playground. So another ask from the community, another ask from the community has been to get away from our metal slides. I know during rough economical times, the city went to metal slides for budgeting purposes. Now we're in the time where we're going back around, switching them out. We've completed Morrison Park and Windsor Park, and then we'll continue to make an effort to transition all our metal slides back into our plastics. Some more behind the scenes. This is more pictures of our team complying with state mandates, water mandates, and repairing backflow devices that really prevent a lot of cross-contamination, water between potable and irrigation water. So just a lot of work that goes on just to keep our parks green and our drinking water safe. And here's another good shout out. A team that we don't want to forget about is our park security. Lions. This picture's from Rio. They were able to, and it's happening more often because they're now trained in the uses of Narcan. They were able to administer 4 doses of Narcan to this young lady and able to save her life. So this is a shout out to the security team that they don't just provide security to keep our park safe, like they have life-saving measures that they've administered here, and then it's like I have about 4 or 5 more examples of them administering Narcan and saving park patrons' lives. With that concludes my presentation. We'll save any questions after.
Good evening, Commissioners, Chair Herrera, Susie Organic, Park and Landscape Design Manager. I have 10 slides here highlighting 10 capital projects in various stages. The first one is Walnut Street Urban Green, which is in concept planning, but it has moved over to the design phase. As you're aware, this project stems from a 2016 South Main Vision Plan, where there was a call by the community for some open space in that area of the city. It's just south of First Street, Main and First at Walnut. We're going to close a half-block section of Walnut from Main to an alley and limit the vehicular access to a fire lane. What that will enable us to do is grow the parkway into a small parklet. It'll be an outdoor plaza that will allow for just general seating, programming, spot for the recreato to pull up and park. So it'll be a really nice space. It will have trees, benches, the overhead sort of fiesta lighting to match what is currently on Main Street. So it'll be a real nice space. So we completed our community outreach portion. We're charging forward, developing contract documents so that we can publicly bid We're looking to do that this fall. Brissette Park, new community park. So we just actually completed a concept planning, the concept planning phase. We did community outreach. We had several meetings at Greenville Fundamental Elementary School. As you know, this is a 6.5 acre city-owned property that has been up till now managed and maintained by the Santa Ana Unified School District through a joint use agreement. Really excited, Deputy Director Pagano was able to reopen that agreement, and we have taken the park, the land back to make it available for use as a full-time city park. So what we wanted to do was some long-range planning for what this park could be. It's very exciting. 6.5 acre, that classifies it as a community park. And as you can see, we're able to do a lot there. The plan includes a regulation size soccer field, 2 77 soccer fields. There's a walking trail that wraps around the 3 fields. It includes fitness, exercise, park courses, stations, playground, picnic, tennis courts with pickleball, basketball courts, and a small dog park area, parking lot, lighting. And we're actually in the process of putting together an application to apply for state land and water conservation fund grant funding for this project. Really excited because this is going to be a really strong candidate. That's the program that we were successful in getting funding from for the Tenth Flower Park. So that application's due August 5th, and we're pushing forward to get that in. Okay, Santiago Park Phase 3. So this is on the east end of Santiago Park. It's about a 3.5 acre area on the south side of the creek where we're going to do habitat and trail restoration. For the most part, it's going to be a low-key project. It involves delineating the trail, bringing in new trees, understory planting, riparian, automated irrigation, lighting, and it also, the biggest component is a pedestrian bridge that will connect the 2 sides of the creek. There will also be a interpretive sign component to this project. The concept for this project was actually helped, the community, the Park Santiago neighborhood helped to develop this concept some years ago. It has been a while. We brought it back to the community because a lot of new people have since moved in. We wanted to make sure everybody was up to speed with the project itself and where we were in the process. So over the past 2 months, we've had a couple of meetings. One was last night. Commissioner Zacaria Torres, thank you so much for being there and all the input that you contributed. It's a very good meeting. Talking in some depth about the project and getting input. We are going to schedule a site walk with the neighborhood association probably within the next 2 weeks to talk about it a little further. At the same time, we are advancing plans. We're at about 60%, and the hope is to wrap this all up within the next few months so we could submit a grant application for construction funding. Tenth and Flower, the new park at 10th and Flower Street. As you're aware, it's going to be a 2-phase process. The first phase is to close 10th Street, build a cul-de-sac, install a crosswalk and hybrid beacon. That is underway, and we'll be wrapping up within the next month. We are wrapping up contract documents for the park and are hoping that we can publicly advertise that in September. And yeah, sorry, I kind of, thank you. Cypress Fire Station. Excited to report that this project is currently being publicly advertised. We have full construction funding, and we don't have the exact bid opening date, but it's going to be within the next couple of weeks. Centennial Dog Park is currently underway. We are, the site has been demoed. We're doing major grading, getting a lot of utilities and infrastructure in place. It's moving along. And we're looking for a second quarter completion for next year. Memorial Park Aquatic Center, one of everybody's favorite project. Currently also underway. A lot of the earthwork has been completed, demos completed. They're currently installing the stone columns, which will be used to support the building, and we're also working with mural colors on the conservation of the Chicano Gothic mural. Santiago Phase 2, this is a section of Santiago Park between Main Street and the Log Cabin. It's currently under construction. It is really taking shape. We look to complete the project middle of August. It'll then go into a 3-month maintenance period, and then it will be open to the general public. Really exciting. It looks fabulous. Next slide. And the last slide that I wanted to share is the communication marquees that are going into 6 of our parks. 3 have been completed. Horton Park, Delhi Park, and Centennial Park. Rosita Park, Delhi Park, and Bowers, the one that will be located at Bowers Museum, are all in queue. So really excited to see all these coming to completion. That's it for my slides. I do have 3 other items that I wanted to mention that that I'll be bringing back to the business calendar at a future meeting. So one is the feasibility study that we are doing for the vacant parcels in Washington Square, and speaks to the first public comment. We are wrapping that up. It will be completed by next Thursday. So we'll be bringing that probably to the next meeting. We're also working on a public art policy. We've never had one. We're working on one because we've got a lot of wonderful art in our park system that is worthy of celebrating. So we're creating a policy, and as also part of that effort, we are going to be creating a library of information that we could. There will be QR codes at all the sites that will tie back to a repository of information. So I'll tell you more about it when I bring the policy. And the third of my item is the Bristol Recreation Corridor. We've retained a consultant to help us study Bristol Street, city limit to city limit, to see where there could be open space opportunities. We are moving forward with Bristol Oliver, as everybody knows, the Wastrel Park. But there's more opportunity, and we want to see how we can maximize use of all that open space that's there. So we'll be bringing that back to share with you. So, slide.
Great, thank you, Susie. Superintendent, do we have any questions from the commission? Commissioner Hicks?
Public comment. I wanted to thank the Public Works Department for working together with Pacific Park in regards to the Walnut Street urban project. Thank you for your patience. I know it was a lot of misunderstanding, getting the people together, and working with diverse initiatives was a bit difficult. At times, I see that in the city, the right-hand department doesn't connect with the left-hand department, and at the end, we're all scattered. But this time around, you guys were able to finally get the community together, which was extremely helpful. And I'm happy to see that we're moving forward with it. The neighbors are extremely happy. I also wanted to publicly thank the neighbors from the Pacific Park for, coming together and going to the city council meeting to see what we have with the Cypress Street Fire Station. And they did a good job of going to city council, and I'm happy to see that this project is moving forward. I'm looking forward to, seeing it completely done in the future. And I just want to thank you for your patience in Public Works and for taking the time of, having extra meetings with our neighbors to be able to come together on this project.
Yes, any other questions or comments from the commission? Commissioner Dudley?
It's, two questions, one first one for Susie, second for George. Susie, can you go over with us on the Doucette Park planning where the basketball, football, everything is? It's kind of small in there.
Oh, yeah,
Kinda hard
yeah.
to see
And
on the
actually, it evolved since, we put this PowerPoint presentation together, so there, there's additional information that's not even included there. So I don't know if we could pull that slide back up, Hiram, and maybe I can go point.
I was trying to see it.
Yeah, it is. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so MacArthur Boulevard, and then Greenville, Fundamental Elementary. Hawk Scott lives somewhere over here, Director Scott.
Just got dogs.
So we have our parking lot, and then our picnic area, playground area. This is evolved a lot since this. Playground area is here. There's going to be a restroom here. Actually, the playground will be right here, restroom here. And then over here, we'll have basketball court, tennis, combination tennis, pickleball court, and then the dog run areas. And then regulation size field, 7v7, 7v7. This is the walking path that will have the fitness stations around it.
Will there be any benches on the side of the large soccer field for like?
Yeah, there's actually going to be a this little square here is now going to be on the other side of the path, but it'll be a big shade structure with seating underneath. And then there will be benches throughout the park.
Yeah, now that you're here on the Doucette Park, is there any bike? I see the parking lot. Is there like for a bike rack?
Yes, yeah.
So for those on Zoom, in the red, that'll be kind of where the basketball and stuff will be, and then on the yellow will be the pickleball, tennis.
Yeah.
Blue, the restrooms, most likely.
The restrooms will be right here. Yeah, things are moving quickly because we wanted to get this wrapped up for the grant application. So we, yeah, I forgot that we submitted our report several weeks ago. So this is not quite there. But at the next meeting, I can bring a more updated picture of the final. Any other questions?
Yeah, my second question was for George. Slimmer, I don't quite think so. But on the sampling part, they have a spot next to the basketball that was just open. Something about making that a pickleball. I've seen people put up their own like makeshift one. It's like volleyball. They have like a volleyball pole that they or a spot for that.
Are you advocating for a spot there, or?
Yeah, it's just to put it, because I know it's popular, people use it. I don't know how many people are actually using volleyball.
I know at Morrison Park, Sandpoint, there's a pickleball overlay on the tennis courts. I think something with on the actual tennis courts. Yeah, it's not specific to pickleball, but it's an over. And that goes for all our tennis courts around the city. They have a pickleball overlay if people are interested in playing pickleball. Yeah, I think we'll consider to monitor it if there's a need at Sandpoint to introduce maybe permanent, if there's an opportunity to visit that. We definitely do that.
Any other questions? We'll have here to Commissioner Diaz and then Vice Chair Figueroa.
I just wanted to ask, Mr. Acevedo a question.
Yes.
When, you know, at the end of June, the kids at, you know, for St. Anne's School had an event at Memorial Park. And we were advised by one of the people around there not to use the toilet paper because he actually saw, you know, a person using drugs cleaning it. And so I wanted to see if there's any way that the city could look into changing the toilet paper, you know, dispensers to something that could cover the toilet paper, or at least a cover over it. You know, just, I know it's not gonna be something cheap, but just for the safety of, you know, of the kids that go there. Since I knew I was gonna be volunteering for that event, you know, me thinking ahead, I brought our own toilet paper and everything. But that day, you know, it was really sad to see the guy still cleaning it in front of us, and we had even called police. We called police to come over and deal with him. But if there's a way that maybe we can work with, you know, to get a little bit of funding to find covers for the toilet paper, so for that, where the toilet paper is exposed, please.
Okay, so thank you for the question and I apologize for that experience. We'll note that. I know at Gordon Park, we
Yeah, you guys did a great job.
put up like a pilot, so I'm still kind of gathering information on the use and if it works. And it's kind of like a manual resistant toilet paper dispenser. So can I follow up on the
Sure.
meeting on that? Yeah.
Thank you so much. Sorry. That's my question.
Vice Chair Figueroa.
Good evening. Couple questions. I wanted to ask if for our upcoming projects, if we have maybe public art. I know we're working on the policy for it, but if we could incorporate some sort of public art because our city is lively and it'd be nice to see some color in our walls of our local parks that we have. And at yesterday's San Diego Park Neighborhood Association meeting, someone mentioned if maybe we could do in-house shade structures, since we have an in-house construction crew. If we could just maybe purchase the shades and have our in-house staff install them. So I don't know if we could look and see if maybe that's a cost saving thing we could do, as opposed to having a contractor complete that.
And I also had El Salvador Parks patios, being there.
All parks, shade in all parks.
Being there and a patio, and the poor parents are close to the building. And that heat from the cement, because it's all cemented. And well, saying more, but I'm glad you brought that up, like, that's a good suggestion, a little bit cheaper than sending it out. I would like to do anything simple to make it much more freer for some of the parents sit out there and watch their kids using it for fantastic class.
And I also wanted to check in on how the process is for how far along we are on the grant process for the Walnut Street project. And if we have plans on informing the neighborhood in advance about the road closing up, because it would be good to give the neighborhood, the surrounding neighborhood advance notice on the road that they won't have access to or be able to park there. And then with the Grisette Park urban greening, I wanted to ask if we were able to get input from the neighborhood association on what they would like to see in that local park. If we have plans for shade structure and native plants, because I see a lot of like greening and lawns, but I don't see much native plants on the concept drawing. For Santiago Park, I wanted to see if we have plans for making sure that the interpretive signs will be bilingual. And for the communication marquees, what kind of information are we planning on putting on the marquees? If maybe we could promote the neighborhood association meetings to the public and also other commission meetings on the marquees. I just went through all my questions.
So they're questions?
Yes.
Okay, so, I may need your help going back.
Yes.
I think Walnut Street was the first question that you had related to the grant and the street closure. So the grant is secured. It is a fully funded, project. It's state grant funding for $2 million. So that's complete. We're just reporting on our progress right now. With regards to street closure, that was a topic at all of the community meetings that we had. As it gets closer to construction, we'll be putting out additional notices for that. Grisette Park, you had a question about shade over the playground. Yes, that will be included in the plan. And
Native plants?
native plants. So yes, there are always native plants included in the plant palette. We also include, we like to approach it as we're using climate appropriate plants. We're a Mediterranean climate, so they're plants from that type of a climate is what is going to establish well and thrive. So we usually do a combination of native California plants along with climate appropriate plants that may be from other regions.
Neighborhood association.
Oh, yes, we had 2 neighborhood meetings. We sent out postcards to every household within a 500-foot range. Meetings were held at Greenville Elementary. So we had some neighbors. We had we piggybacked on the Greenville PTO meeting. So there were faculty, parents, and students all there. Oh, and then communication marquees, they believe they are going to be, the information is going to be managed by the city manager's office. There will be park-related information displayed, but that will be, there is a team that they're creating, a public information team that will be managing that.
Can we ask that team to, if we could include neighborhood association meetings, commission meetings, and city events?
Oh, yeah, yes, the signs will be fun.
Is there any plan to outsource these or keep these more internal to city communications?
The marquees, I believe this would be
Strictly,
We may have partner agencies like the Rancho Santiago Community College District specifically for Centennial and the CEC. I think that's even part of our joint use is that once those are established, that they'll communicate with us to highlight some of the programs that are going on over at the CEC. And it could be the same for school district information and all that kind of stuff, but primarily citywide information, followed by highlighting certain things that are of interest to the community as a whole.
not like McDonald's.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't think, again, that's the city manager's office decision on whether or not we want to get into sponsorship.
No, let's keep it public. Okay,
What about the in-house shade structures?
So as you saw on my slides, you know, we already have it in-house in our maintenance. So this new team, you know, it's not created yet, it's still on the show recruiting, but that's not to discredit what our team could do. The shade structures are a little bit more in debt as it requires engineering drawings, footings, they gotta account for size, wind. So I think what we are gonna do is try to maybe create some plans, to see, some engineering plans to see what makes sense in terms of what our staff in-house. So I think we have it as our to-do list, and create some drawings, have some engineering prints that we could kind of just figure out if it makes sense to bring that in-house or not. Because it requires, you know, you have the brain, you have big footage, it's a bigger equipment that is required, it doesn't make sense to rent it or just outsource it. So we do that cost now.
Commissioner Ritz?
Yes, I have. I'm not sure who can answer it because I think I asked before and I don't remember. I think the answer was that it was private property. I'm talking about the area of the used to be the YMCA on Alton and Fate. So it still flows and flows and you know there's growing and everything. Is there any? I think I was told that it's private property, but is anything going to happen with that? Or you, the city of San Ana doesn't involve when it's private property?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think we've talked about that location. Now, but in fact, at one point, we were even looking at it as a part of a possible land acquisition. But we were also told that it was private land and that there was intentions to do something with that location. So when it is privately owned, individuals can decide when they want to release that or if they want to go through. One of the things that we've been trying to, decide if we want to get into is land swaps. So if they aren't necessarily interested in retaining their land where you identified, do we have parcels that are city owned that they would be interested in potentially swapping and everything? But specifically to your question, because it is privately owned, that the last time we inquired about it there was intentions to do something with it. That was the last time that we actually asked about that particular land.
On Brooklyn Park, the lake renovation, I don't understand very well. It says that it's a shareable, but needs construction funding. Is that just waiting for funding? It's still.
Any other comments? Superintendent, Susie, for my comments or feedback, the dugout shade, I think that's great that you're providing those updates. I know Rosita Park has the dugout there. I don't know if that's been installed or if there's plans to install.
Our plans are to provide shade to all our dugouts. We're about 90%. I'll follow up if it's 100%.
Thank you. I support that very much, that idea. At Santiago Park, as mentioned, thank you for replacing that signage. Quite a beautiful sign that I see. I mean, people shouldn't take that stuff like that. How secure is the scene plaques? Or what measures were taken?
I mean, the only difference is we made it
cheaper.
Right? No, it's not. There's no value. There's no resale value to the sign.
I see.
The last one was bronze. That's why it made it. People were out there to get it, to recycle it, to get money for it. This one's made out of wood, so there's no incentive to get it. However, like anything else, everything's subject to that. If you really want to go out there, get something. But knowing that it's made out of wood, to create it more inexpensive and replace it more inexpensive. back to the in-house.
Great, thank you for that. I also, for the pickleball courts, our first official pickleball court, that's our new, I think that's really great. My friend Boomer's, he's really good at it, so I'm sure he's excited to go and try that out. I thank you for the replacement of the slides. I think that's great. I have gotten feedback on some of the, the transition. For park security, I want to thank you for including that in our park security for taking those measures. I think it's, it's an unfortunate situation that, our parks are primarily our only open public space, right? So this is where the intersection of these issues are kind of unfolding. And so thank you for uplifting this, the team, but then also, there's a big crisis at hand that, it's the city should be, it's equipped to kind of respond to it. The state and, the federal, it's a big overlaying issue. So thank you for raising this for the commission. Susie, you mentioned about the Walnut Street Urban Greening Project. I know kind of the information out to the public, I think would be helpful if I know folks can tune into our commission meetings, but if there was more of a Zoom or like as you're doing outreach to kind of incorporate a Zoom option or like a Zoom only option where you can kind of
thank you. We actually talked about that.
that would be good for the public to more, folks are with the park naming, folks really want to get involved. And if there's those opportunities, I think folks, I would personally join, make it easier for me. You answered my question about bike racks at Grisette Park. For Santiago Park, please count on me to submit a letter of support or any letter of support for, you mentioned the timeline of projects that you're working on. So I would gladly submit a letter of support as chair. And I also had I saw the communication marquees and I think they're so beautiful, and thank you for asking about that and what type of information are we going to be promoting. The commission idea for all commissions I think would be great. As we have attendees in our audience here, whether they saw it on social media or on the city's website for meetings, I think it's great. You mentioned Rosita Park. Did you do you know where exactly on that corner at Rosita Park you're thinking? Is it on
the northeast?
That corner? It would be Hazard and Rosita. New Hope. That would be a great location. It's a great section that folks travel through. What was not on here, but it's kind of in relationship to Council and Bruin projects, or rather like the bike trails. I know that is that under our purview for Parks and Recs. There's Euclid is like a major street that doesn't have any bike lanes, and I've actually fallen on my bike. It's a little scary, but yeah, there's there's a lot of bus routes down that street. So I don't know what we're thinking. I know there's plans on development along like Harbor and in the future. So I don't know how we're thinking about. There was some biking that was installed along New Hope, right at Rosita Park, but something that maybe connects to Euclid, and then Euclid runs from Milesburg Park corner all the way up till 17th Street.
So there are 4 classifications of bike trails, and class 1 is off-street, and that's primarily in our purview. Classes 2, 3, and 4 are all in the streets in various ways. That is managed by our traffic engineering team, but we work very closely with them. If you like, we can talk about the bikeway master plan in a future meeting, so that we can take a look at what's in place and folks on the streets and how they connect up. It's like urban anatomy. you know, the bike lanes, the safe routes to schools, the safe routes to the park, all the connectivity. It's really kind of interesting to see how it all works together.
Great, yeah, no, I know, we're investing on the west side, so, I hoping for one day we have a bike trail, or bike lane right there on
Yes.
but, okay. Any additional comments or questions from the commission? Commissioner Vice Chair Secretary Solis?
So I know that we have budget issues, so I think it's important that we get creative about generating funds for the city or for Parks and Rec as well. And with what happened at Santiago Park with the sign, I've heard of cities having public funds, and I know that a lot of residents really love like our Santana logo. They love to represent the city where they are coming from or where they live. So maybe an idea could be if we could have a public fund that would sell city merchandise. I would love to have a Santiago Park sign put on my wall at home, or any city merchandise that I could put in my home. I would definitely purchase it, and I'm sure like when I used to be a city employee, I would have my Santana hat, and I would get asked all the time where they could purchase it, or as well as like my Santana staff jacket. I would get asked all the time where regular residents can purchase them, and I would let them know that it's only for staff. So I know that there is interest out there for city merchandise. And also, I think it was mentioned about park acquisition. In New York City, they've taken unused railroad tracks and turned them into green spaces. I really love that idea. And I remember learning about them in my urban planning classes, and I thought, like, I know we have unused railroad tracks here, and I would love to see something like that. So there's something that we could look at to try to turn unused railroad tracks into green spaces. I would love that.
Yeah, Susie and I have talked about that. You don't have to go all the way to New York, although we are both fans of the Highline Park. Brea actually has the Rails to Trails program. They have a connecting old railroad arterial that goes from the east side of Brea all the way to the west side of Brea. And there was plans at one point to try to take it all the way into like La Habra and the adjacent cities. I think that plan has died down since then, but Brea was able to achieve a Rails to Trails program. Yeah.
There is also something that we're reviewing right now, OC Connect. There is property alongside of the new streetcar that's undeveloped and being looked at as a linear park. So we've been asked to help and check that and contribute. So that's one.
Love Maestros Parks sign for my house. Cool. I thank you so much, Jorge and Susie. I think we'll go back to our Deputy Director Pagano to go over our Parks, Recreation, and Community Services staff report.
Thank you, Chairperson Ferreira and members of the commission. I'm glad I flipped the script because I need to rest my voice for a second, but it gives me the opportunity to really, before I get started, show the appreciation to our Park Services General Maintenance Superintendent and team, George and his guys, and also Parks Planning, Susie. We are working so close together, even despite the fact that we now sit in different agencies and everything, but what they do for the community, as you guys can tell from their reports, they really are adding value to our park spaces and to the upkeep of our parks, and really support Parks and Recreation and the recreation side, because we certainly wouldn't be able to offer the programs and services that we do without the support that they give us on a daily basis. So thank you guys for all that you guys do. I really appreciate it. Summertime's a little bit busy for recreation. It's our peak time. And I'm going to go over some highlights with you in terms of all of our sections. and just kind of share what your recreation division has been doing over the last couple months. We'll start off with our athletic section. Our rookie baseball and softball program has registered 461 participants across 35 teams. We also added standings to make it just a little bit more competitive, but we're really excited about our rookie softball program because with the amount of participants that we have in that program this summer, we now have the largest softball program within the city, which is really encouraging because we definitely want to make sure that girls have a space within our recreation services program to explore sports in the way that they should. And we're really excited to see the support that we've been getting through our rookie baseball and softball program. Our adult leagues, we have currently 22 basketball teams that are registered. In addition, we're going to continue to offer our volleyball and kickball programs and hope for a great turnout there as well as we deliver those over the course of the next year. Our Chicano Heritage Festival is going to be coming up on August 24th, and we're going to be featuring a 3v3 basketball tournament. So we're hoping that if you know anybody that's interested in playing in a basketball tournament during the Chicano Heritage Festival, there's going to be great music that's going to be going on, great atmosphere, and you can see who the best of the best is if you sign up for the 3v3 tournament. In addition, and lastly, our Pitch Hit and Run Challenge, we had 49 youth athletes registered for our July 26th event. We'll have some pictures to kind of highlight those programs, I believe, in your Zoom packet. And we'll head to our aquatic section. During the month of June and July, we've had over 2,500 swimmers and about $3,500 in cost recovery. That was specific to June, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but when you factor in that our prices for our recreation swim are $1, $2, and $3 for youth, adults, and seniors, that's quite a good haul in terms of cost recovery. And again, to have 2,500 swimmers at our 3 active pools right now over the few weeks that we were operating in June is a testament to our lifeguards and our pool management. Swim lessons, we are to date at a 14% increase over 2024, and I'll be during this report, we had 1,510 participants, but I'm happy to share that we've just completed session 4, and we've actually had over 2,000, over 2,100 swim lessons through 4 sessions. So we're averaging about 510 swim lessons per session at El Salvador, Salgado, and Jerome pools. Our junior lifeguard camp sold out its 2 sessions. So they focus on a lot of the things that our lifeguards are trained in, but just at a little bit more of an introductory level. But those were sold out, which is encouraging because when we started with our aquatics program as an in-house service, we were looking in every nook and cranny for lifeguards just to make sure that we had enough to make our pool safe. This indicates that we're now building a bench, and we're very happy about that, so that those that are a little bit too young to be lifeguards, you have to be 16 years old to be a lifeguard with us here in Santa Ana. If they're 15 and a half, they at least get the introductory skill building that our guards and our instructors offer, so that when they do turn 16, they're ready to go and they've been taught by our people here in Santa Ana. Our upcoming event, we have this Saturday at El Salvador Park, the OC Safer Summer Pool Party. It's going to be taking place between 3 and 7. Essentially, we are one of many communities in Orange County that is providing this special event opportunity where we actually go over pool safety, drowning prevention, and water safety education. There's a combination of dry land stations as well as in-water stations, and then we wrap it up with a 6 to 7 recreation swim in the evening. I'm happy to announce that we already have over 140 people registered, and we were last year the biggest OC Safer Summer pool party, and this year we will be the largest again. So we're very excited to be able to contribute that. And there's some pictures of our aquatic section as well. In our community engagement section, our Cultura Guide, our fall edition releases early September, and it will be covering September 2025 to January 2026. It's just a little bit after Fiestas, so that's when we start picking up all of our classes, activities, events that we'll be featuring during that time span. Our social media growth continues to increase. We have a 7% increase in Instagram followers, and we've had over 102 posts since June 1st. Our top post was our park naming, which we had over 17,000 views. An unfortunate aspect of social media, although we did let the community know, is Spirit the Eagle did pass away here at the zoo, but I believe Spirit was, what, 30 years old? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, yeah, roughly, approximately 30 years old, so we wanted to honor, the presence that Spirit had here at the zoo. And our pump track, which is currently over at Centennial Park, was also our top post during that time. Happy to announce that our community engagement team has received over $59,000 in new partner and sponsorship commitments, and just highlighting Volkswagen, Ashley Furniture, and also our work with Project Kitchen. Our health and wellness section, Roosevelt Walker is the flagship of our health and wellness section. They had over 56 wellness participants at a new game night offering, which is really exciting. One of the things that I'd like to highlight is during the month of June and going into July, and even currently, there was a lot of hesitancy within the community to come out to our programs, and through our youth sports programs, through our aquatics programs, through our day camp programs, and even what is being offered over at the Health and Wellness Roosevelt Walker, we're getting a great turnout of participants still. And we feel like as Parks and Recreation, that's kind of our role, is to provide a sense of normalcy for our community and maybe a little bit of a distraction just for a little bit. And our health and wellness section certainly does that for our community. Our community gardens, we had over 1,200 participants across 5 locations, and we talked about crop diversity, partnerships, and also compost research. Our wilderness club is taking trips. It seems like almost every other week, but I think it's once a month. But we've had nature trips to Bolsa Chica, Earth Roots, and Crystal Cove, and we're anticipating more to come in the future. And our Golden City Hour at Santiago Park continues to be a very popular program, especially during this time when the sun's out a little bit later and everybody can enjoy the beauty of Santiago Park during the evening time. Our senior services section, we have over 30 unique offerings at both of our centers, including fitness, arts, English as a second language, and tech. One of our more popular tech classes is called Happy Hour, in which our seniors have the ability to work with our library to get help with their phones and with their iPads and all the apps that are on there and how to navigate those. Our nutrition services, we have over 3,300 meals served in June and monthly distributions that take place. Our transportation program remains solid at 271 riders with multiple excursions and shopping trips that are incorporated each and every single day. And our events continue to be wildly popular with ice cream socials. I think we're going to the OC Fair in the next day or two if we did not go yesterday. I should probably be a little bit more aware of that. But it's coming up in the near future. And we also have Medicare workshops and spirit activities to celebrate both Southwest and Santa Ana. Our special events section, as I mentioned before, our Santa Ana Fun Run had over 2,700 participants with an expanded downtown route, and we made reference to the fact that we were able to charge and have a lot of cost recovery for that event. Due to applying a fee that was an initiative of Monique's. And again, I think the proof is in the pudding when we had 93% of those that registered actually participated in the event. Our Movies in the Park is concluding this weekend here at the zoo. We're going to be watching Madagascar. But again, it is a testament to the community continue to come out for our events. Every single one of our movies in the park has had roughly 450 to 500 participants show up at all of our offerings, and they continue to be very popular. Our 4th of July at Centennial Park celebration went off without a hitch. We're estimating that we had roughly around 5,000 participants this year, and which was very exciting, especially considering, again, the state of the city and of the community and all that good stuff. As I mentioned earlier, our Chicano Heritage Festival is taking place August 24th at Centennial Park, and we are also starting to prepare for Fiestas Patrias event and parade, which is September 13th and 14th of this year. Our youth and teen services section, summer camps are experiencing anywhere between 100 and 130 youth per week in our Summer Splash Day camps, which are located at Jerome, El Salvador, and Salgado community centers. One of the things that I did probably a couple of weeks ago was take a look at our rosters. And what the exciting thing about our Summer Splash Day camps is we were at 90% filled in each one of the weeks, which is really exciting from a school age program perspective, because what that necessarily means is that 90% of our rosters are ready to go each week, and all we're having to do is determine 10%, finding essentially 15 kids to join us for our camps week over week, and that's really easy to do from a planning perspective, and it also helps us determine and forecast how many tickets we need for our excursions, how many art projects we need to prepare for, and all that type of stuff. So our goal next year is to try to sell out at least half of the camp before we even start camp in summer of 2026. Our teen drop-in program was able to come back this year, which was very exciting. We didn't know if it was going to be able to, and we're also doing local excursions. So that is taking place out of Garfield Community Center. Our contract classes are, again, very popular. We have folklorico, guitar, gymnastics, cheermastics at El Salvador, and our volunteer program features a civic engagement pipeline for future city employees. Some more pictures of our day camp program and everything that's going on at our centers. You can go to the next slide. Impact and community reach: over 12,000 direct participants engaged across athletics, aquatics, seniors, youth, and wellness programs. We also completed over 1,100 field permits, 32 picnic reservations, and a dozen of special third-party special event activations. And over the last couple months, we've had hundreds of classes, daily activities, and seasonal events over 12+ facilities. As I mentioned before, we have high participation across all programs. We've had over 12,000 residents engaged. We've expanded outreach and our support, community engagement, securing the 59,000, increased followers in our social media, and large-scale events like Fun Run, Movies in the Park, and the 4th of July have fostered unity, while wellness programs, gardens, and senior meals deepen local impact. And with that, I conclude my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Deputy Director Pagano. Do we have any questions or comments from the commission? Commissioner Diaz?
Thank you for the programming, and I'm happy to hear that there's a lot of more participants, even though, the situation right now, it's not very good, but I'm happy to see that there are a lot of kids participating. I want to ask you, who do we have as guests for Fiestas Patrias?
Oh, that's a very good question. As far as our headliners, so I could probably comment on 3 of them. One is still up in the air because of some demands that they're making in terms of our backline and everything. So Hiram, help me if I mess this up. But on Saturday, our headliner is Luis Cornell.
Who's what?
Luis Cornell.
Who's Cornell?
And on Sunday, we have our lead-in, which is El Daza. And for our headliner is La Septima Banda. So that is what we have currently, and working to finalize the negotiations in their contract. Our lead into Saturday is the one that is making some demands that our audio-visual technician may or may not be able to meet. And if they can't, then we may have to walk away from that individual. So I wouldn't feel comfortable sharing that information.
Another question. How, in regards to budget, how expensive is it, or how, can they do like, without charging that much?
Are you talking about siestas specifically?
Yes, for this particular, guests.
So we actually got into a really great contract with a event producer that has been has a lot of reach, and I'm happy to say that they've negotiated very well on our behalf, in which we feel very comfortable in meeting the financial demands of the artists that we are talking to and have secured and everything. I'm excited because not only were we able to achieve this through our event producer, but they're also helping us identify local talent as well too, to kind of bring in as even more of a lead into our headliners. So we're going to be expanding the entertainment aspect of Fiestas Patrias this year. We want to have a nice balance of community performers, which we want to highlight everything that is going on well with the folklorico dancers and our mariachis and our local talent. But we also want to secure, talent that is coming from a regional standpoint too, to support our headliners at the end of the day as well.
Because that was one of the suggestions I was gonna make, perhaps not this particular Fiestas Patrias, but in the future Fiestas Patrias, if you can try to do something like a community talent show and see, within, not make it like so broad and huge, but invite, like how we invite people to participate in the parade. Like perhaps you guys can put something together, because I know one of our community members, Eva Macias, she sings beautiful, and I was, able to invite her to the neighborhood event that I put together, and believe me, I was like surprised. I was like, wow, she sings. So we have a lot of talent in our community, and when I did the neighborhood event, which was the concert at the park, it was mainly neighbors who sang and participated, and I was completely wow, like in regards to seeing, we have so much talent. If you can put something together and then allow them to participate, that would be like just a suggestion.
No, I like it. Santa Ana's got talent.
Exactly.
Then the winners can perform at Fiestas Patrias.
Yes.
I like it. We'll do it.
Thank you. And then my other question is, where are you guys planning to have the main stage? Are we gonna be able to have access to the area of locate, or?
Unfortunately, no. At this point, even this afternoon, I made one final plea to the development company to see if we can get back to the North Gate lot, which is on 4th and French. They've been a pretty consistent no, because they have plans to start developing that area, but we're 45 days away and I don't see a tractor. So I made one last phone call. To answer your question, we're going to be on 3rd and Main. So it's going to be right adjacent from the old city hall. And the reason that the stage will be facing north on Main. So the singers will be facing north up Main towards 4th Street, 5th Street, and subsequent. The reason we chose that is because with the OC streetcar, there's overhead wires on 4th Street, and it limits how high our stage can go. So the wires are at 20 feet, and there needs to be at least a 4-foot clearance, so our stage can only go to 16 feet, which is very limiting. So by moving it south to 3rd, we don't have those wires, so we can have a similar, or at least a taller stage that will give us a little bit bigger of a platform than what we could if we were on 4th Street. So that's currently where the stage is placed.
Okay. In previous years, talking previous. We had 2 different stages. Back in the days, there was a stage on Ross and 4th. And then the other one was actually, again, close to 3rd and French, but it was I'm sorry, Fourth and French, but it was facing, west.
Mhm. I have heard that. The difficult part about that is when working with our traffic division, they only want us to close one major street. So we can either go from Main to French,
Okay.
or we would have to go from Broadway to Ross. And so we wouldn't have the ability to go over both main streets, because those street closures with the downtown activation actually start on Thursday and would go all the way to Monday morning. And the idea of disrupting major traffic on Thursday, Friday, and then possibly Monday morning, we would probably get a lot of feedback from the community if we made that decision.
Okay, those were my questions. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Any additional comments? Vice Chair Zacarias Torres?
I went to the Delhi Library not too long ago, and I didn't really see much seating. I do love the library. It's in a great spot. I love the outdoor section of it. I was also wondering if there's plans for shade structures on the outside portion, because I didn't see much shade when I went, and I went in like the middle of the day. I did see a lot of residents checking out books, but if I have a book that I find there and I want to sit down and read it, I really couldn't find a spot for that inside or outside of the library. So I want to see if there's plans for that.
With the seating, is that specific to the library or the park?
Delhi Library.
Okay, we'll share that information with Executive Director Sternberg. He was directly involved with the design of the Delhi Library extension. So maybe that's something that he would be able to address at the next Parks and Rec Commission meeting. I don't have that information, unfortunately.
Also, could we look into opening our parks a little bit later? Maybe just our any parks that we could open a little bit later, because it gets darker later in the summer, and our parks are not open as late. And I know Hart Park is open till like 11, I believe. So I think that would be very beneficial for the residents in the summer.
Okay. Right now we have a standard close time of 10 p.m. I think part and parcel of that is a lot of our parks are within neighborhoods. And so we want to make sure that we're being mindful of our adjacent neighbors and everything. I know there have been discussions about possibly extending the hours of Centennial Park to possibly 10:30 or 11 during the summertime. But that's still a discussion that we're having internally to determine, if that would be something that the community would access. I know that there's a lot of user groups that would like to explore that during the summertime. So we're currently having that discussion.
Okay, good. And another reason for keeping our parks open a little bit later is, I know we have a lot of residents that live in multi-family homes, and they might not have access to an air conditioner in the summer. And since it's cooler in the evening, it would be really beneficial for the residents to be able to just go to the parks a little bit later to get some respite from being inside where it's a little bit hotter.
Sure.
With our pickleball courts, do we have plans of doing something like a citywide pickleball tournament?
That's another great idea. Yeah, that's why you guys are on the Parks and Rec. Yeah, I mean, as the popularity of the sport grows, and as George and his team are creating more overlays and more dedicated pickleball locations, I'm sure that will be something that we'll be exploring in the future. At one point, with our athletics section, we were discussing having a sports day that was featured around the stadium, in which we could conceptually put pickleball courts on Flower Street, right? And that would be an idea that we've kind of kicked around conceptually, but we haven't really fleshed it out, mostly due to the financial impact that it would have. So, but if we end up finding some additional funding and maybe some support from sponsors, I think that could be something that we could look into in the future.
I have a coworker that lives in LA County, and she mentioned that they have, for their public schools, they have like a summer pass instead of paying like a daily rate.
We have that too.
Pass?
Yes.
Summer pass?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a recreation swim pass that it's more economical for you to purchase that if you're gonna be there every single day than the daily rate. So, and it's a little bit easier too, because you just show your pass and you go, okay, you don't have to wait in line.
Oh, that's great to know. I also wanted to commend the city of Santa Ana for continuing our summer programs and our recreational pool, because I recently learned that the city of Orange doesn't have their summer camp this year, and their recreational swimming pool is closed for the summer. So meanwhile, in Santa Ana, our pools and our summer programs are thriving, so I'd like to commend Parks and Rec for that. I know this might be a zoo matter, but I know that some residents are not too fully aware that the Eco Center is now open. Maybe we could do some like A-frames on the other side where the new playground area is, or some sort of signage to let residents know that the Eco Center is open and what kind of programming they offer.
I think that's a great idea. The zoo team and the Parks and Rec team actually had a conversation this morning that revolved around security and how to handle atypical situations. But I was educated on the Eco Center and its programs that it's offering, and it's typically Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. And one of the ways that we felt like we could collaborate together was we run programs Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we identified that if there's constant activity, which has been found out to be true, some of those atypical situations start to decrease. And so we are working on a plan to collaborate with each other that the Eco Center will be activated during its regular times Friday through Monday, and we'll start planning our wilderness walks starting at the Eco Center rather than the lawn bowling center, so that again there's that presence and everything like that. But I agree with you, maybe some A-frames to let everybody know that that's what we're going to be doing is probably the next order of business.
And for our upcoming movie at the zoo, would that include entrance to the zoo?
Well, that's a good question. I think so. I think we're having it on the lawn that is incorporated with the zoo. I don't think that it includes attendance or entry into the zoo.
And where exactly would the movie screen be located?
So if my memory serves me correctly, there's a lawn area that's adjacent to the amphitheater. And it's kind of, if you enter the zoo on the other side and you make a right, there's a pathway over there. That's where we typically have our movies in the park program. When we're at the zoo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional comments or questions from the commission? Deputy Director, great presentation, information, wealth of information. What I did want to comment on was in relationships to, well, generally just the whole immigration context and how that has impacted. I do community engagement work for my professional job, so I see it day in day out how it's impacting the community. I'm curious. You've it seems as though maybe things are still running as smoothly as things have been. Have you noticed any sort of impact in how folks are showing up for our events?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. Initially, I think probably when the summer program first started, there was a lot of hesitancy that we experienced across more of our community centers. We saw a decrease in participation, and slowly but surely, as time went on, we saw that eventually get back to what we would consider normal levels. One of the things that we've also seen is that there have been collaborations through the community that if there is hesitancy on the part of anybody, neighbors will step in and maybe assist in dropping off or picking up kids. I know that there was one incident that was on the east side that was relatively close to Roosevelt Walker Community Center, in which parents or guardians were notified that there were was a quick decision to not participate in those days' activities and everything like that. So, those are the typical stories that we're hearing. I know a lot of our adult user groups and our youth user groups have had their participants express concern for being in the park spaces, especially during the evening times. So there's been on the part of Parks and Rec and the admin kind of a forgiveness of cancellations if it does take place, if our user groups are sharing with their league representatives that they don't feel comfortable coming to play soccer or practice, in our park spaces. So we've been very mindful of that as well, to be able to make sure that we give them the grace during this time to be able to call us up and make those cancellations if that's where their people are at. So that's typically what we're seeing. But like I said, the numbers in terms of participation have been strong, and we're very happy that, again, as our role in Parks and Recreation, if we can be a sense of normalcy or a sense of diversion, that's what we feel our role is within the community.
And I know there was mention of like Centennial Park ice being there, right? Making arrests or generally, right? You see law enforcement out in the parks, or it's assumed that they're doing their job, right? But I think I don't know if there's any policies or procedures that relates to seeing ice out in the parks that then folks are able to internally discuss, like, how do we move forward, or how do we cancel this event? For instance, I believe it was the city of LA had canceled all of the Parks and Rec activities, I believe, for the rest of the year. So is there internal conversations as it relates to how Parks and Rec staff respond to sort of ice presence in our parks?
Yeah, when this first started emerging, specifically with the Santa Ana community, there was a lot of questions from our team, and rightfully so, as far as what their role is and everything. And happy to say that our city manager and our human resources agency has communicated what our roles are, especially if federal agencies and ICE were to be in our park spaces, to come into our community centers, and what that would mean as far as a reaction from our teams and what to do. We just went through that recently in a division meeting, I would say probably about 2 Thursdays ago. So our administration, or at least our leadership team for Parks and Recreation, which comprises our supervisors, our coordinators, our specialists, were charged with this is how the city would expect you to act in that type of situation. They were charged with sharing that information to our part-timers as well too. Essentially, for lack of a better term, we're not to assist, but we're not to obstruct. So that's basically the boiling it down to the lowest common denominator is the instruction that we were given as a team.
Great. Good to know that front desk staff are being trained on some of these questions. Everywhere from healthcare centers to food banks to everyone that I know is really just training their staff to be able to be prepared to kind of respond to these situations. So I'm happy that the city is doing the same. At the last city council meeting, or rather, I can't recall, the recent city council meeting, there was discussion to reallocate $100,000 for Parks and Recs. I believe it was 10% across the board from the programming. What is your assessment as it relates to, well, first, like, is that program, I believe it got through because of the funding specific to Parks and Recs. So, how is it that your team is managing that? And then, what impact do you see as it relates to the programming that we have planned?
Great question. Our team is managing it well. It's difficult because, again, as you know, in terms of the overall budget, we represent about 3%. So, however, with that being said, we're happy to do our part to make sure that our community is feeling heard and obviously supported during this time. What you'll see is a 10% reduction in all special events across the board. So even at We were able to achieve that in 4th of July, even though we were really close to the culmination of the planning there. You'll see some elements that won't necessarily be as grand as we've seen in the past at Chicano. Fiestas obviously has a major budget, so 10% for us is pretty significant. My memory serves me correctly, our budget for Fiestas is around $500,000. So you take 10% of that, that's $50,000 that we're not dealing with now. And that could speak to the amount of vendors that we can have within the space, because we have to provide canopies for each one of those vendors. It could impact traffic control, which could mean an adjustment to our parade route because of the reduction in cost and everything. So we're trying our best to mitigate that so that the public doesn't really have a different experience than what they're typically used to experiencing during our events. But we are making surgical cuts to our events so that we can continue to support the efforts by the city to support our community.
Yeah, I mean, quite a tough act to balance, right? I mean, even I was considering that, bringing before this commission, what's our say on slashing, the budget that we have allocated for special events, right? I think it's, following what LA did was just cancel everything altogether. But I think the route that we took, I think is, a little scary that ICE might show up to our community events, especially ones that are specifically catered to the Latino community, that are right around the corner. And so I thought that it was brave for the city to be able to support our community. And I know that from hearing from you, right, these tough decisions, but like striking a balance between wanting to provide the community cultural events that we're so accustomed to and feel so welcomed and a part of. And then the actual safety of being just, racially profiled out in the street and arrested. We shall see, we shall see moving forward. And I think being able to adjust for next year, we still have 3 more years, but I think this is the first try at, I thank the city and I thank Parks and Recs for making these hard decisions and making those surgical cuts where necessary. So I support you. So I wanted to get that over just to kind of the conversation as it relates to immigration. As it relates to my Zacarias Torres talked about cooling centers, publicizing something to get ahead of that. I know these heat waves are gonna come, maybe till September, October, we don't know. But having that ready, I think would be great to post on our social media. That was it. I think the immigration piece was, I think, the one that I wanted to highlight the most. Thank you so much, Deputy Director.
I have one.
Go ahead, Commissioner. Yes.
I have another question. Is there a cost for the vendors to participate in Fiestas Patrias?
Yeah, all of our vendor spaces, especially as we consider what we consider our premium events, which would be at this point Chicano and Fiestas, there is a cost that's associated with it, but it depends on whether you're an exhibitor, a nonprofit, if you're just providing information, if you're a food vendor, or if you're a retail vendor. So prices vary based on what category you fall in. I wouldn't be able to quote them off the top of my head just because they do adjust. And we have a formula that basically takes into account how much budget is per each event. And then our goal is to try to capture back in cost recovery at least 5% of whatever that overall budget is. So we adjust the prices based off of what the overall budget would be.
And do we have any good sponsors? Because 500,000 is quite a big chunk of money.
Sure.
But do we have any
like I mentioned before, Volkswagen is one of our sponsors that is going to be coming in and assisting us with Fiestas Patrias. We're currently in negotiations with Telemundo to come back and to support us. I think their valuation is somewhere close to $36,000 that they'll be helping us out with in-kind and financial contributions and everything. And our community engagement team is currently have scheduled tomorrow a meeting for somebody that can kind of broker sponsorship deals. So we're looking at every avenue we possibly can to try to bring in additional sponsors for Fiestas.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Monique.
Yeah. She's gonna be sitting over on the 7191 waving at us during mid-September.
Or maybe participating and
Yeah, there we
doing
go,
the show.
there we go.
Okay, great. Thank you all so much for your work. Now it's, we'll close to, typically it's the, we have the executive director comments for this section at the end of the meeting as we close with comments. Deputy Director Pagano, do you have any closing comments?
Just two. Our executive director is not here today because it is his birthday tomorrow, so I'd like to wish Hawk a very happy birthday.
Happy
all
birthday.
all the way on the East Coast in Boston, so happy birthday, Hawk.
Happy birthday.
And one last thing, we have a very exciting opportunity that's coming to the south part of town. We've been able to broker a deal with Kaboom Playgrounds. And we are going to be bringing a brand new playground to Sandpoint Park by October. And so what's exciting about that is we have a design day, which you'll be seeing via our social media and our website. That is going to be taking place August 6th from 4 to 7 at Taft Elementary School Library. We invite all the community to come and share what their aspirations are for what that playground structure looks like. Please include shade because that would be awesome for everybody involved. But we also want to hear from the community what they would like to see that playground to look like for Sandpoint Park. We also have a possibility of having a second playground that will be supported by Kaboom later on in the year as well too. So we're very excited about those things. And with that, I'll wish you all a very good night. Thank you very much.
Great. Now, thank you, Deputy Director Pagano. Finally, we will close with commissioner comments. We'll start off with Commissioner Diaz.
Thank you. I just want to thank your team, and I also want to thank Public Works, and especially because you guys on the Parks and Rec section are putting together a lot of great programming, and it includes everyone from teenagers to our senior centers, and it's been very, very active, and I'm very happy to see the involvement. I'm also very happy to see the social media aspect of it is very active, and it draws in a lot of more attention, and that's for that I wanted to thank you. I just want to thank Public Works because I was able to see firsthand how you guys were trying your best gather the community to speak up about what they wanted to see at the Walnut Street project. I was able to see how you guys, I don't know if you did, but you walked around, like in a big area of where the park is going to be, and you posted notes as to where the park was going to be and the meeting, where the meeting was going to be held. That was very helpful, but I do want to suggest that Neighbors Initiatives works with Public Works in the future, because they already have a list of, people who participate in the community meetings, and that would be very, very helpful. So in the future, if you can just tap into that. But thank you so much for, walking the area, for putting up signs and for putting up meeting notes. That was extremely helpful. And a lot of, the community residents, some were not able to participate, but they did, we took notes for some of them. And so for that, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Acevedo, for trying to help us out in regards to, to the issue with the toilet paper covers. I know this is a difficult task, and I know it's gonna require some of the funding, but you did a great job over at Rosen Park. And now I know we're gonna do one park at a time. No pressure, but we're gonna do one park at a time. So for that, thank you so much, and I look forward to the upcoming events.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gonzalez.
No further comments.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Jogway.
So first, thank you, everybody. Thanks to people that came to watch. We have sitting through it. I know it's a long one. People on Zoom and all the people not in the video. We have a secretary and the text. And thank you guys for all you do. This was for Tim, relating to our seniors. Is there any programming or anything that will help seniors, like maybe say a lawyer come in and help them look at their trusts, or maybe a financial advisor, help them review their beneficiaries, some things like that realm.
Yeah, I believe in the past and maybe currently as well too, we work with a lot of, community-based organizations, that have put on, workshops like that in the past. That's very important for us in making sure, I think the difficult part is that a lot of people, that do come in to want to provide those things, they're usually associated with potentially selling their business, so we have to be very careful about who we invite in, but, if we get a good sense that somebody's there from an altruistic perspective, then we certainly would love to provide that for our senior population.
Second one, I think it's probably to senior, Jordan, I'm not sure, but for that upcoming park, that said park, I wanted to advocate for an adjustable basketball. I think it would help little kids, they're not shooting on the big basket, and for smaller rims, probably have to go to elementary school, and it's kind of asphalt, it's kind of dirty, so somewhere where they can play, and it might be a little more expensive, but adjustable basketball basket. Another one, how often are we replacing the nets in our parks?
So, as they go back, I think it's, we don't have like a set timetable to do flags like twice a year, but those as they get reported as somebody put or inspections in the field. So if you got a net that done the later or more, if the app's part of the question, I report that, then we'll get to it.
Last one, an idea for social media. I think it'd be nice to maybe highlight or have interview someone, community members, if they want to do a story about a good experience they had at the park. It kind of brings it together. And so why our parks are important. It kind of helps people see, some of the stuff that we do. And then maybe a slide like a carousel slide, if you go on Instagram, that actually highlights all of our parks. Because even here, I know we're like, wow, we really have so many parks. A lot of people don't know all the parks that we have on the website. I don't know if that's already on there with us.
Well, also too, that there was a question from a gentleman in our public hearing saying that about drop bus, that we have that, and he's suggesting that, and we just heard today, Susie did, that in every park, that is where their goal is, and the environmental problems that they look at, so we like to address that person that we are looking at it. Oh, I'm sorry, the environmental problems of the parks.
Thank you, Commissioner Jogway. Commissioner Nelson? Oh, Commissioner Nelson, sorry. Commissioner Reyes?
Just very, very from you guys, I know.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
I just want to say thank you for the Movies at the Park series. Last Friday, it was at Memorial Park. I had so much fun. I saw so many people from like school that I know, the neighborhood. It was so many kids, and it just warmed my heart to see how the library was there and they were helping them, explaining how to get a library card, helping them check out books, and they were even showing like the older folks or people that thought that they couldn't get a library card, and it was just awesome to see that interaction. I will say the only complaint that I had was that people that have mobility devices were having trouble gliding through the grass because of just the elements. So I was hoping that maybe you guys can kind of test that out to where the canopies are placed. That was the only complaint that I got. But other than that, I mean, my family had fun, I had fun, and thank you so much for everything that you guys did. And no further comment.
We comment on that. That's great.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wu?
Yes, it's tremendous of all the programs that are going on, and I too have testified to That's My Most Violence and movie nights. And we did have some concerts last year, and I really missed them, but I know because of funding and about funding that's going on in the federal government is. Also, the Ward 5 has been participating in OC Connect with the people in the neighborhood for the last year, and they also have been helping us market it and giving some money to associations for their activities too. So I'm very glad that they're still working on it, and they have been really reaching out to the community. So I'm glad to see this linear kind of park going through the right next to the streetcar. So that is very clear. I just want to just seeing it. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much, Commissioner. Vice Chair Zacarias Torres.
Thanks for all the updates. I'm very happy to see that our programs are thriving in Santa Ana. Looking forward to also seeing in the future maybe our trails at Santiago Park to be ADA compliant, because I believe that residents of all abilities should be able to enjoy our Santa Ana parks and our trails.
I think I would like to thank the public for attending, public comments that were submitted to us. I also want to connect folks to the Orange County Rapid Response Network. If there's any immigration needs or educational resources, you can follow them on Instagram and social media. Something that I think there's just a culture of fear that is dominating the narrative right now. What I have been thinking about in my professional capacity is working on with the community on el derecho a permanecer en nuestras casas, en nuestras comunidades, and now in nuestros parques. To translate, this is a sort of narrative of the right to remain, taking from the right to remain in our homes because we know that the rent is so high, the right to remain in our communities because so much of us feel so left out, and the right to access to our parks. And so I want to share that with the public and from this commission. That's where my values stand, and that's where I think the city should be, is heading towards, right? So with that, the next Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission meeting is scheduled for Thursday, August 28th at City Hall Council Chambers at 5:30 p.m. Before the commission, I hereby adjourn the meeting at 8:12 p.m.